This week, I'm reviewing an electric scooter that might be the industry's best kept secret for dual motor scooters. It's got the high speed and stability of the really big scooters, but it's just small enough that you can carry it up a flight of stairs, squeeze it into the trunk of your car, or lift it over your head.
This is the new Wolf Warrior X.
It's got an ESG certified top speed that's faster than the 2019 Wolf Warrior 11 and the Mantis King GT, but it weighs 30 pounds less than the Warrior and costs $500 less than the Mantis. I'm Paul Somerville, this is Electric Scooter Guide, and for the last 4 years, I've tested more electric scooters than anyone on YouTube. Stick around because if you like dual motor electric scooters, the Wolf Warrior X base model is a scooter you should know about. We've got the ESG certified top speed and range, what it's like to ride, a couple things about it that drive me effing bananas, and we'll find out the differences when we test it head to head against the Wolf Warrior X GT. Let's check out what it's like right out of the box, and then we'll go for a top speed run.
It is day one with the new Wolf Warrior X, and this is the one with the cool center display, so we're gonna see that. I should mention this scooter comes to us courtesy of Fluid Freeride, which is why I've got the Fluid swag on today. We're just gonna do a really quick setup because there's just not a lot to do to this scooter to get it on the road. You just pop the handlebars up, slide those down. I'm gonna latch those later because I'm gonna go testing after this, so I'm not really gonna ride it right now. And then it's just a matter of kind of putting the handlebars on and attaching the clamp. Then we'll check out some speeds and modes and see, how fast it's gonna go in each mode. All right, I'm gonna take you through the modes. I'm gonna bring you up close here with my phone. And so you would think you'd start in mode 1, which goes 12.1 miles per hour, but there's actually kind of a mode 0, and that's like your eco mode, I guess. And because you've got the little symbol up here, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, get the focus. The little symbol up here. And so in mode 0, we'll call it, it goes 15.4 miles per hour. And then we saw in mode 1, it was 11.6. Mode 2, 18.7. Mode 3, 25.1. Mode 4, 34.2, it is so smooth right now. And mode 5, 57.5 miles per hour. And that's our firmware limited top speed. It is not really gonna go that fast in the real world, but that's the fastest it could possibly go, maybe downhill. I charged this up last night, so I'm gonna go do a top speed run right now.
Now it's time for a top speed run on the Wolf Warrior X. To beat the previous model, I'm gonna go faster than 44.1 miles per hour. Can I do it? Let's go find out.
All right, here we go, top speed run on the Wolf Warrior X with the new display. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, whoa, oh, more wheel spin than I thought. All right, here we go, 27, 28, 30 already. 36, 37, 38, 40, 41, 42, oh my gosh, it's still going. We have passed the last top speed, 48, not expected. Now I'm with the wind right now, so it won't be quite as fast going back the other way. 49. 49 and a half. Oh, this is way faster than I expected. I'm running out of space. Go, dude, go. All right, we're gonna call it 49. But we'll get the real data, of course, from the data logger. All right, now the opposite direction run to cancel out any effect from headwind or tailwind. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, good launch. Here we go. 30, 35, 40. 44, 45. If this speedo is real, we're beating the old one. 45, holding steady. Oh, I saw 46 for a second. All right, that's it.
All right, so I've got the top speed results for the new Wolf Warrior X, and it's surprisingly fast. It went 45.6 miles per hour, and that's our 2-direction average that cancels out the effect of headwind or tailwind. And what's surprising is we kind of expected it might beat the old Wolf Warrior X, which it does by 1.5 miles per hour, but it also beat the Wolf Warrior X GT, the Mantis King GT, the Visette 10 Plus, and the original Wolf Warrior 11, the big Wolf Warrior.
But what impresses me most is not necessarily just the top speed, but the way that these dual stem scooters handle top speed. They are much higher inertia front ends, which makes them just naturally more stable, and it makes it really, really easy and very comfortable to go fast. And you also feel that stability coming through at the lower speeds, but it's just a little less obvious. 0 to 30 is quicker too at 5.3 seconds. And so it beats, of course, the old X, the XGT, but also beats the Mantis King GT, ties the Visette 10 Plus, and comes in just behind the original Wolf Warrior 11. But now let's go to the hill climb spot and see if it can beat them up the hill. All right, we are at the ESG test hill, and this hill is a 10% grade, which means it's 200 feet long and it goes up 20 feet. The time to beat is 7.5 seconds. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, the Wolf Warrior X climbed the test hill in 8.2 seconds, which is fast. I mean, fast enough that this is gonna get you up any hill you wanna climb as fast as you wanna go, basically. But it wasn't fast enough to beat the Wolf Warrior X GT or the Mantis King GT. All right, so now it's time for the range test. I'm gonna go ride the Wolf Warrior X until the battery is just completely drained to find out how far this scooter can go in the real world. All right, let's get some riding impressions of the new Wolf Warrior X. And normally I save this until I'm halfway through the range test, but this is gonna drive me bonkers. I have to do this now. Can you hear this? Can you hear the whistling? Our Wolf King GTR does that too, and it took me forever to figure out where it's coming from. There's a little tiny hole right here underneath this part of the handlebar, and I'm gonna pull over and tape it over with a little electrical tape. You can put some putty in there or whatever. I'm sure it's there to, let water drain out or something if it gets in there, but, little noises drive me nuts. I've gotta fix that. This isn't gonna be a beautiful fix because, it's just for the road, but it'll do the job. There we go. And of course, one more over here. This is the guy that's sending the speedometer data to the right-hand corner of the screen, not part of the scooter. There we go. Silence! I win. The sound is gone. All right, so now I'm gonna demonstrate the stability of the Wolf Warrior X by doing something very stupid. It's gonna start off mildly stupid, but it's got a strong finish, so stay with me on this one. We know you should never ride a scooter one-handed. I believe it's the #1 cause of electric scooter crashes. And in fact, many scooters are so unstable, I'm afraid to even scratch my nose. The Wolf Warrior X, it's a very different story. And please don't ever do things like this. At the end of this video, I'll say, please don't ride like me. This is exactly the thing that I'm talking about, not to do. Don't do this. But I felt like the last video I didn't really demonstrate how stable the Wolf Warrior X was, and so I was kind of determined to do it in this video, and there you go. I did it without crashing. Don't do that, and don't ride one-handed. Seriously, #1 cause of electric scooter crashes. Okay, so there are 3 reasons why we care about the stability so much. Number 1 is it just makes it, feels safer and better at top speed. Number 2, you just feel that stability at every speed, and it really makes the scooter easier to ride at every speed. It's one of those things that's so hard to describe, but it's always there. And that leads me to number 3, and that is, stability is one of the things that makes a scooter feel like a good scooter. Hard to describe, impossible to quantify, but so important to a good ride, and this is a very good ride. Now we are at the halfway point, and it's time to talk about the overall ride quality of the scooter, what it's like to ride. And I'm gonna start off with this display. It's got lots of color, it tells you everything you need to know, and it's very easy to see in sunlight. I just don't even think about the brightness of the display because it's so easy to read all the time. Let me take you through the riding modes. This display, it shows up to 5 modes. There's actually 6. There's one hidden on here, and I'm in that one right now. It's called Eco Mode. It's a strange mode. It's useful, but it just basically feels like you're halfway in between Mode 1 and Mode 2. It goes about 15 miles per hour. Mode 1 is actually slower than Eco Mode. We showed you the top speed on that one earlier. Okay, Mode 2, that feels like a pretty rideable mode. Kind of going around 20 miles per hour. Let's try it from a stop. Okay, tiny bit of wheel spin. I didn't expect that. So a little bit of power, kind of fun. And then, 3 is where you start getting sporty. Let's try a dead stop on 3. All right. Okay, just, marginally faster than 2. Now we go up into 4. All right, so now we're getting sporty. Okay, you gotta watch the front end in mode 4. Finally, we'll do one more in mode 5. And mode 5 just kind of wants to spin every time you launch it if you're not careful with the throttle. So, watch out for that. And that's the mode that I'm using for this entire range test. I'm just, as we always test, in the fastest mode. Let's look around a little bit more here. So we've got, over the left-hand side, we've got the headlight switch, and that also controls the beautiful swag lights on the side of the scooter. And then you got your turn signal switches right here. And they've got a little indicator here. I'm not getting an indicator on the dash. This is an early version of this scooter, so they may show up later. I know this dash has the capability to show turn signals. You get them at the corners of the scooter, you get the front. It's actually a white signal up there. In fact, let me see if you can see it with that 360. Wah. You see it? There it is. All right. And then at the back, you've got a taillight turn signal. And then let's beep the horn. All right. Kind of expected that because hardware-wise, it's a motorcycle horn. The other controls are all right over here by my finger, and I love that. You used to have an Eco Turbo and a dual single over here, but that's all over here now. In fact, there's no turbo anymore. You just get your 5 modes, and I really prefer that. Like, let's just put all the modes in one spot, right? In terms of dual and single, that's over here too. Just leave it in dual all the time. Use the modes to control your speed. It's better for your motors. It's better for your controllers. I do love this trigger and that it's separate from the dash, but with the zoom, it's kind of a reach. Anytime you have zoom brakes and a trigger throttle, you end up kind of doing the splits with your fingers. I work around that by dropping the brake lever down a little bit. But the zoom brakes actually do feel very, very good. They're very easy to control, very strong. And then we've got these grips. They lock at both ends, so they won't spin around on you while you're riding. We saw these first show up on the Wolf King, and they're nice grips. The dual stem front end, we talked about the huge headlights is truly one of the very brightest headlights in all of electric scooters. The deck is huge. It's actually longer but narrower than the big Wolf Warrior scooters. Definitely feels plenty roomy enough, but you'll notice my foot has been back there the whole time. I really like the rear footrest on this scooter. One thing I've had to watch out for riding the Wolf Warrior X is that the stability of the scooter fakes you out. Several times I've caught myself riding like 5-10 miles per hour faster than I thought I was. And so, watch out for that. The suspension is, it's a bit firm for my weight. I weigh 165 pounds. Some suspensions, they will soften up a bit over time. And, hard suspensions, they do get better the harder you ride them. So that's always nice. But I think this is going to be perfectly sprung for, heavier riders, people more around, 200 pounds to 220 pounds. But, the rider weight limit is 265. So that's kind of right in the middle of probably what they're shooting for. And then I don't know if you can hear it, but these motors are dead silent, and that's because it's got sine wave motor controllers, and I'm riding street tires. I don't know if that's going to be the default configuration for the scooter. I think it's actually not. I think they're going to come with off-road tires, which is great because I think a lot of people are going to use it that way. But I do kind of enjoy the quietness of these tires paired with the extreme quietness of these motors powered by sine wave controllers. Altogether, this is a very stable, very smooth, very fast, and comfortable scooter. I give it a big thumbs up. All right, we are reaching the very end of the range test. I can tell because when I give it full throttle or anything more than about half throttle, it kind of bogs a bit, and then I get an error message, and then things come back to life. But the funny thing is it's showing like 7% battery remaining right now. And that's why I think it's so interesting, the different ways that different scooters sort of end their range because it's so different. So here, just a couple minutes ago, I thought I had 10%, and I was feeling pretty good. And now I'm just gonna kind of limp it back to the 4Runner and load it up. But I'm gonna squeeze the last couple miles out first. Okay, this is the end. I am getting down where I just barely sustained 3 miles per hour on flat ground. That is our cutoff criteria at ESG. Last time I saw on the odometer, it was 32.2 miles, and I expect it'll be a little bit less than that when we look at the official data because this speedometer is about 5 to 10% fast. So let's go see how the data turned out.
The new Wolf Warrior X covered 32.9 miles on the ESG range test course. That's 0.9 miles more than when we tested it 3 years ago. Anything beyond 30 miles is a very respectable real-world range, especially considering the Wolf Warrior X's price. But this is where the Wolf Warrior X GT and Mantis King GT win, covering 44.2 miles and 36.6 miles respectively on the ESG test course. Now let's test the brakes. The Wolf Warrior X comes with Zoom hydraulic brakes. The advantage of hydraulics is that they're self-adjusting and require less effort from your hands to get maximum stopping power. We have a slight preference for nut brakes over Zoom brakes in terms of reliability, but overall braking feel was excellent. The Wolf Warrior X stopped from 15 miles per hour in 10.2 feet, a little behind most of the group, but it was close. The top 6 scooters here all stopped within 7.2 inches of each other. Let's check out some detailed specs and features of the new Wolf Warrior X. It's got 1100 watt nominal motors, and it's got sine wave motor controllers that push 30 amps apiece for a peak power of 4,000 watts. Now, the biggest difference between the new Wolf Warrior X and the Wolf Warrior X GT is battery size. They both use 60 volt batteries, but the base model has a 21 amp hour battery made with generic cells for a total of 1260 watt hours. And the GT's battery is 33% bigger and uses name brand cells. The Wolf Warrior X comes with a 1.75 amp charger, and that'll charge the battery in about 12 hours through the original old school charging ports, which are different from the ones that you get on the GT. There are 2 ports, so if you happen to have 2 chargers around, you can get it done in 6 hours, or if you pick up an optional charger from Fluid for $139, you can get it done in 4. And the charger gives you the option of stopping at 80 or 90%, which is better for the health of the battery if you're planning on parking the scooter for a long time. We've seen the new display already, but I really can't overemphasize how much better this is. It's bigger, it's better looking, and you can position it independently from the trigger, so they both end up just where you want them to be. There's no app for the scooter itself, but there are several P settings that you can get into in the display, and that's covered pretty well in the manual, so I won't get into that here. One of the things I appreciate about the new Wolf Warrior X and the original one from 2021 is that unlike most scooters, it arrives with the P settings already maxed out for performance. There is an app for the swag lights, however, and it gives you endless colors and patterns, but be careful with these lights because they feel like they could break if you bash them on something. The scooter's rated IPX5 and should be okay to ride in light rain, but stay out of the deep puddles because this fender is kind of short and won't protect you from getting splashed. Let me go over some of the cons of the Wolf Warrior X. When we reviewed it 3 years ago, we called it out for having a tendency to roll off the side stand and fall over, and it still does that. Since 2021, many scooters have switched to tubeless tires, but the Wolf Warrior X is still rocking tubes. But on the plus side, it's got split rims for easier tire changes. Like many other larger scooters, the stem doesn't latch down to the deck when it's folded, and that makes it a little more awkward to carry upstairs. All right, this next one is a bit of a nitpick, but when you turn the forks all the way to the right, it pinches the wires between the forks and the frame. Now, this is easy to avoid, and you never need to turn that far when you're riding, but just something to be aware of. Don't get me wrong though, the Wolf Warrior X is absolutely a scooter I would own myself, and my friends have even bought them based on my recommendation. So who is the Wolf Warrior X for? Well, I kind of want to just say it's for everybody because I have this gut feel, deep love of this scooter because of the ride quality. But it's going to be great on-road, off-road, commuting, group rides, even for new riders, as long as you keep it in the lower modes. So let me just list who it's not for, and that's just limited by portability. I mean, if you're on the smaller side and need to haul it up 2 flights of stairs, maybe not for you. But really, any of the 40-mile-per-hour plus scooters are gonna have that issue. But for me, I think I could live with 1 flight of stairs per day with this. If you want to get the Wolf Warrior X with this new display, definitely use the link in this video's description because most places are still selling this scooter with the old LT4. We've also got coupon codes down there and you're going to get the best price. When you use the link or watch any of our videos to the end like you just did, it makes a huge difference in our ability to make more videos and get access to more scooters like this. So thanks so much for your support.
I'm Paul Somerville from Electric Scooter Guide, and please don't ride like me, but do always remember to wear a helmet.